What's up, guys? Hey, Jared Beckstrand here, Doctor of Physical Therapy, ToneandTighten.com. Do you suffer from shoulder tightness or maybe limited shoulder range of motion? Well, today I wanted to share with you 8 of my favorite stretches that you can do right at home to help improve mobility in your shoulder, to stretch out that tightness, and hopefully help you guys to feel better. So let's get into it right now. All right, you guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today here on Tone and Tighten. I'm excited to be able to share with you a little bit about what I know about this topic. Hopefully help you guys out with some of the shoulder pain or the limited mobility that you might feel that you have in your shoulder. If your shoulder feels like it's stuck, if it feels like that range of motion is limited, I hope that I'll be able to share some things with you guys today that will help you out. Quick plug for the channel. If you have not done so already, go ahead and take this chance to subscribe to Tone and Tighten here on YouTube. I try to share a lot of great tips and advice, some rehab tips, even some home workouts, some healthy recipes. My goal is to help you guys become fitter, healthier, and even injury-free. I hope you take the chance to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you do like this video, if you find the information that I share useful, I'd love for you guys to hit that thumbs up button down below, and thank you so much for that in advance. Okay, so let's get into it. So your shoulder is the most mobile joint in your body. At least it should be the most mobile joint in the body. It's capable of motion in 3 different planes of motion. We can go forward and backwards, we can go side to side, and then it can also rotate, even up here a little bit. If you're limited in one of those ranges of motion, it can actually affect other ranges of motion as well. It can cause pain, it can pinch on structures where it shouldn't be pinching. That can cause pain, that can cause issues such as impingement, tendonitis, bursitis, even rotator cuff tears in very severe cases. And so again, what I wanted to share with you guys today are about 8 of my favorite stretches to just improve mobility in your shoulder, to just create a little more space, to create a little more range of motion. One more point that I want to make, your shoulder, well, all the joints in your body undergo what we call an adaptive shortening or lengthening, meaning they're going to respond, the ligaments, the tendons, the structures that hold it together are going to respond to stresses placed on them. So for example, if I am regularly going into these full ranges of motion with my shoulder, my shoulder joint's going to stay loose and mobile. However, let's say I get up here and my shoulder starts to hurt. So because of that pain response, I don't ever go up and over that point because I know that's going to be painful. So what happens is your structures in your shoulder actually undergo that adaptive shortening, that all of a sudden that becomes my limitation, that becomes my range of motion right there, just because those structures are so painful. So if we can create some more space in there, if we can create this lengthening in there to get back up into that full range of motion, a lot of times that can help you out with your shoulder pain. So the most common place that you're going to feel pain in your shoulder would be anterior and superior, meaning in the front and on the top. Just given the arrangement of the shoulder and the kind of the anatomy behind it, those places are a little more susceptible to injury, and therefore I want to show you kind of more stretches to stretch those out. Also, these stretches are going to go in order from least intense to most intense. So hopefully you'll be able to tolerate at least the first couple. Hopefully you'll be able to tolerate all of them. That would be ideal. If any of these cause pain or discomfort beyond like a stretching pain, so I mean obviously you're going to feel it a little bit, I want you to feel like it's a good stretch, but I don't want it to feel pain. And so I tell people in my clinic, I want you to push to the point of pain, but not into pain. If it starts to become painful, you're pushing too hard, so you need to back off it a little bit, or if it's painful right from the get-go, I want you to just bail on it altogether. And so try to keep all of these stretches should be as pain-free as possible. So the first stretch that I like, we're going to do a wand extension stretch. You're going to get a broom or a mop. In this video, I'm going to show you I've got a golf club. I feel like that's kind of the most convenient. And then we're going to take the shoulder, again, to stretch that anterior shoulder out, we need to take it back behind us. Let's show you how to do that. You're going to grab the head of that golf club or whatever you're using in your right hand. Your left arm goes up high, And then what you're going to do is use your left arm to push your right arm back behind you as far as you can go. Should feel a stretch right through the front of the chest, right in the front of the shoulder. You might feel it up through that biceps a little bit. And then you're just going to take it right back into that comfortable position. You're going to hold it for 20 seconds. Again, the stretch should be all through the front of the shoulder. 20-second hold. You're going to repeat that 3 times. So that's stretch number 1. Stretch number 2 is going to be an external rotator or a external rotation stretch. We're going to stretch the tight internal rotators. A lot of times with posture, if you're here all day, and if your shoulders are slumping and rounding forward, they're rounding into what we'd call internal rotation. I want to come up and back here into this external rotation position. So what you're going to do is lay down on your back, still grab that same golf club, broom, mop, whatever. You're going to hold that in your right hand, and then you're going to use your left arm. Well, and so your right elbow is bent at a 90-degree angle. Your right elbow is kept right into your side, and then you're going to use your left arm to push that right hand out towards the side, again, just until a comfortable stretch is felt through the front of your shoulder. Now, in this position, you should be able to get pretty close to 80 to 90 degrees of this external rotation motion. That means your forearm or the back of your forearm should almost lay down on the floor or whatever it is that you're doing this exercise on. If it's not, that's an indication that this would be a good stretch for you. Take it to where it's in a comfortable position, hold it there for 20 seconds, and then repeat that 3 times. So again, that's going to stretch those tight internal rotators. If you happen to be one of the, I don't know, call it the exception to the rule, one of the fewer that has shoulder pain on the back of your arm, that could be indicative of the external rotators being at play. In order to stretch those out, we need to get into an internal rotation stretch. My favorite one to show would be the sleeper stretch. What you're going to do is lay down actually on your painful side, raise your arm up to about 90 degrees, so your elbow's out in front of you with your elbow bent to a 90 degree. So here I'm laying on my left, so if my left shoulder was painful, I'm going to bring it up into that 90-degree position. Keep your elbow at a 90. Use your right hand on the back of your wrist to rotate your forearm down towards the ground into this, what we'd call internal rotation position. Now, in this position, you should be able to get to about 70 to 80 degrees of range of motion, so not quite, again, down to the table. 90 degrees would be all the way down to the table. If you can't quite get there, that could be an indicator that those external rotators are a little bit tight. You need to stretch into this internal rotation range of motion. Okay, and so now let's get into what we would call an overhead type motion. We've done a lot kind of down here in a safe position for the shoulder. Again, progressing through intensity. Let's show you some overhead stretches that I like. So the first one's going to be laying down on your back. You're still going to grab that same broom, mop, golf club, whatever it is that you're using. And then we're going to raise basically both arms up and overhead. Now, if my right shoulder was painful, I want that left arm to do the lifting on this. And so your left arm's doing the lifting, your right arm is holding on to that handle and just kind of going along for the ride. Take it up as high as you can go, hold it as high as you can go pain-free, hold it there for 20 seconds, and then repeat that one 3 times also. And so with that one, your shoulder blades, as you're laying on the back, on your back, it's a little easier to control, but because your shoulder blades are pinned down to the ground, there's a little bit less range of motion with that. We'd hope to get up to about 180 degrees. With your shoulder blade pinned down, you're only going to get up to about 170 or so. You need your shoulder blade to be free to get through that last 10 to 15 degrees of your range of motion. So to do that, let's go ahead and try one standing up now. So I'm going to grab my same golf club. My right hand, if that was my painful shoulder, goes right up on top of the club. Left hand grabs the handle. I'm going to use my left hand to push my right arm up as high as I can towards the ceiling. Again, the difference here is all of a sudden my shoulder blade can rotate up a little bit. You should be able to get a little more range of motion with this. However, now we're in a gravity-dependent position. It does cause a little more stress on the shoulder joint, but if you can get to this one, it's a great stretch to stretch out, again, just kind of the front of the shoulder. You're going to feel that even under your armpit a little bit. Take it to a pain-free, comfortable spot, hold it for 20 seconds, and repeat that 3 times. Okay, and so again, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that that shoulder is a 3-dimensional joint, forward and backwards, let's get into some of this side to side. And so to do that, same golf club, I'm going to grab the head of the golf club with my right hand, left hand's on the handle. I'm going to use that left hand to drive that right hand out to my side and then all the way up and over my head as high as I can take it. A lot of times if you don't get into this motion regularly, your inferior capsule will get tight. That just means as you raise it up to the side like this, you might feel that a little bit more aggressively in your armpit. That's where that stretch should be. If it's just painful to the top of your shoulder, I'd say give it up. But if you feel like it's pulling kind of through that armpit, even through that lat muscle down there on the side, that's going to be a good stretch for you. You guessed it, 3 times, 20-second holds on that one. Okay, and so now let's get into my doorway stretches. Doorway stretches are probably some of my favorite. I'll show you 2 right now. And so similar to that first one that I showed you with the golf club, that extension stretch back behind, you can replicate that on a doorway. Let's talk about how. You're going to come up to a doorway, put both hands low at about hip height on either side of the door, then take a step into the doorway just until that comfortable stretch is felt all through the front of your chest and front of your shoulder. Again, that's one of my favorite for anterior shoulder pain. Also one of my favorite for like a biceps tendonitis. Those are going to be good stretches for that one. 3 times 20-second holds, or about 60 seconds of stretching. A little bit more aggressive, let's get into a doorway stretch high. So now we're going to take it up into maybe a little bit more painful position, but if you can tolerate this, it's a little bit more effective stretch because we're going to add a rotation component to it as well. So both forearms are up on the door frame. Now as I step into the door, I'm getting a pull through the front of my chest and the front of my shoulders, but then my arm is also what we'd call externally rotating. So it's rotating kind of my hand backwards as I'm up in that high doorway position. And so again, 3 times 20-second holds, comfortable stretch through the front of the chest, through the front of the shoulders is what we're shooting for with that one. Okay, and finally, I've got one more external rotation stretch that I'm just going to show you right here. This is going to be up in this type of a position, and then we're going to again stretch the front of the chest and those internal rotators back into this position. So to do that, I've got my golf club, and what I'm going to do is grab the handle on my club and then just hold it behind my back. And so you'll see, I mean, all I'm doing is holding that golf club right here behind my back. Now what I'm going to do, so my shoulder's at a 90 degree from my body, my elbow stays at a 90 degree right here, hand is on the handle. With that left hand, I'm going to reach over and grab the bottom part of the club down here and then hold on with my right hand and I'm going to pull my left hand forward. So right now I'm just pulling my left hand towards you guys until I get that external rotation in my shoulder. So the lateral view, so I'm right here, club's back behind me, holding on with that right hand. Left hand is going to grab the golf club right down here. As I pull that bottom part of the club, you'll see what that's doing is actually externally rotating. It's taking my arm back into this position. Again, that's probably one of the more aggressive stretches that I show people, but it's also one that is super effective. Okay, you guys, so there you have them, 8 of my favorite stretches for that shoulder joint. Between all of these, that's probably what I recommend the most often with patients who come in with shoulder pain, who need to be stretched out. That collection, or certain ones of those exercises, whatever that particular patient can tolerate, make up a lot of the home exercise programs that I recommend for people. So I hope that something I showed you in there was useful. I hope that something in there helps you out with some of the pain or tightness that you might be experiencing. If it does, you guys, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and like this video. If you have any questions or comments about anything that I've talked about, please leave those down below and I'll get to those just as soon as I can. One more plug for the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down there, and I'd love to see you back here for more Tone and Tighten content. If you guys have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see, feel free to leave those in a comment down below. And until next time, we'll see you right back here on Tone and Tighten.